The rain was coming down hard that Tuesday morning in downtown Seattle, and I was standing outside the Westin Hotel watching my little sister Emma scramble out of her Uber without an umbrella. She was clutching her portfolio against her chest, her carefully styled hair already starting to frizz in the Pacific Northwest drizzle. In 30 minutes, she'd be sitting across from Marcus Chen, the CEO of Innovative Solutions Tech, trying to convince him she was the perfect candidate for the senior marketing director position. The same position I'd been interviewing for all week. The same position she had no idea I was even in the running for. See, Emma had always been the golden child in our family. While I was the quiet older brother who worked his way through Washington State University and climbed the corporate ladder one rung at a time, she was the one who got a full ride to UW, who spoke 3 languages fluently, who could charm her way into any room. Our parents, both Boeing engineers who valued precision and excellence, had always made it clear which of their children they considered the true success story. But here's what Emma didn't know as she stood there getting soaked, frantically trying to flag down another cab. I'd already had 3 rounds of interviews with Marcus. I'd presented my 5-year marketing strategy. I'd met the entire executive team. And yesterday, Marcus's assistant had called to schedule what she described as a final formality meeting for this afternoon. I was holding my umbrella, watching my sister's mascara start to run, and I had a choice to make. I could walk away and let her figure it out herself, the way I'd had to figure everything out my entire life. Or I could do something that would change both of our lives forever. What I did next revealed a family secret that had been buried for 15 years, destroyed my relationship with our parents, and ultimately gave me something I'd been searching for my whole life: the truth about who I really was and who deserved my loyalty. This is the story of the day I stopped being the family disappointment and started being myself. Growing up in Bellevue, Washington, in a household where Microsoft stock options paid for our mortgage and Boeing engineering precision governed everything from dinner conversations to weekend schedules, I learned early that being average wasn't acceptable. My father, David, had immigrated from Taiwan in the 1980s and worked his way up to senior aerospace engineer. My mother, Patricia, was a second-generation German-American who'd broken glass ceilings in the male-dominated world of aircraft design. They met at a professional conference in 1995, bonded over technical specifications, and approached parenting with the same methodical excellence they brought to designing aircraft systems. Emma arrived 3 years after me, and from the moment she could walk, it was clear she'd inherited what our parents called the spark. While I struggled through calculus tutoring sessions every Tuesday and Thursday, Emma was teaching herself Mandarin using YouTube videos. While I practiced violin scales until my fingers cramped, she picked up the cello and within 6 months was playing pieces that took me years to master. At family gatherings in our extended network of tech workers and engineers scattered across the East Side, Emma was the one relatives asked to perform, to demonstrate her latest accomplishment, to represent the family's success story. I remember one particular 4th of July barbecue at my uncle's house in Redmond when I was 16 and Emma was 13. Our cousin Mike had just graduated from Stanford with a computer science degree and landed a job at Apple. The entire extended family was gathered around the deck, and my father was holding court, explaining how Mike's success was the result of proper guidance and natural talent. Then he gestured to Emma, who was effortlessly switching between English, German, and Mandarin while helping our aunt prepare traditional German potato salad alongside Chinese dumplings. "Emma here," my father announced to the group. "She's going to make us all proud someday. Full scholarship to UW, I guarantee it. Maybe even Harvard." Then he looked at me, standing awkwardly by the barbecue grill, and added, "Kevin's more of a steady worker. Good to have both types in a family." The conversation moved on, but I stood there flipping burgers, feeling like I'd been categorized and filed away. Steady worker. Translation, limited potential. The pattern repeated itself throughout high school. Emma's debate team victories got framed and hung in my father's home office. My consistent B+ grades and part-time job at the local REI earned polite nods.
When Emma got accepted to UW with a full academic scholarship plus admission to the honors program, our parents threw a celebration dinner at Canlis, Seattle's most expensive restaurant. When I graduated and got accepted to Washington State University with partial financial aid, we went to Olive Garden. But the real humiliation came during my senior year of high school. I had been working for months on an application for a prestigious summer internship at Boeing, thinking it might finally be something that would make my parents proud of my engineering interests. I'd researched the company history, studied their current projects, even learned basic aerospace terminology. The night before the application deadline, I found Emma at our shared computer, her fingers flying across the keyboard. "What are you working on?" I asked. "Oh, just a scholarship application," she said casually. "Some aerospace program thing. Dad helped me with it." My stomach dropped. I looked over her shoulder and saw my Boeing internship application rewritten in Emma's name, with my research transformed into her words, my carefully planned essay restructured with her superior writing skills. My father was standing behind her, reviewing her work, making suggestions. "Dad," I said quietly, "that's my application." He looked up, genuinely confused. "Kevin, this is a competitive program. Emma has a much better chance of getting selected. It'll look better for the whole family if she applies instead." That's when I learned my first lesson about family loyalty. It only flows in one direction. The grand gesture I'd been planning for months, surprising my parents at their 25th anniversary party with news of a major career milestone, was supposed to finally shift that dynamic. After 8 years of building my marketing career, moving from a small Tacoma firm to a mid-size agency in Seattle, I was finally in the running for a position that would put me in the same professional league as Emma's nonprofit management success. But what my family didn't know was that my success hadn't come from following their prescribed path. It came from a secret I'd been keeping for over a decade, a truth about myself that would shatter their carefully constructed narrative about which child was worthy of their pride. Comment below and let me know where you're watching this from. I'd love to know how family dynamics play out in your part of the world. The 25th anniversary celebration was scheduled for Saturday evening at the Fairmont Olympic Hotel in downtown Seattle. My mother's choice, naturally, because she believed in marking important occasions with what she called appropriate dignity. For 3 months, Emma had been orchestrating every detail with the precision of a military campaign. She'd chosen the menu, Pacific Northwest salmon with locally sourced vegetables, selected the wine pairings, designed elegant invitations featuring a photo from our parents' Boeing Company picnic wedding reception, and personally called each of the 60 invited guests to ensure maximum attendance. I'd offered to help multiple times, but Emma always had the same response: "Don't worry about it, Kev, I've got everything handled." Which was Emma speak for, "I don't trust you to execute this at the level it deserves." The week leading up to the party, our family group chat was buzzing with updates. Emma posting photos of the centerpiece arrangements she'd personally assembled, my mother sharing excited messages about seeing colleagues she hadn't spoken to in years, my father forwarding articles about the Fairmont's renovation and its historical significance, and me contributing the occasional thumbs-up emoji while secretly counting down the hours until I could announce that Marcus Chen offered me the senior marketing director position. The plan was perfect. After the speeches and toasts, during that warm, celebratory moment when everyone was feeling sentimental, I'd stand up and share my news. Finally, I'd have something that would make them see me differently. The position came with a 6-figure salary, stock options, and direct reporting to the CEO of one of Seattle's fastest-growing tech companies. Even my father would have to admit this was impressive. But Friday afternoon, while I was putting the finishing touches on my acceptance speech mentally, Emma called me with excitement bubbling in her voice. "Kevin, you're not going to believe this. Remember that networking event I went to last month? Well, Marcus Chen from Innovative Solutions Tech was there, and we got to talking about marketing strategies for B2B companies. Anyway, he just called me personally to invite me for an interview for some senior position in their marketing department." My blood went cold. What position exactly? Senior marketing director. Can you believe it?
He said he was impressed with my ideas about integrated digital campaigns. The interview is Tuesday morning. This could be huge for me, Kev. I mean, imagine if I announce a new job at Mom and Dad's party. They'd be over the moon. I sat in my Ballard apartment, staring out at the sound, trying to process what was happening. Marcus Chen. The same Marcus Chen who'd spent 45 minutes on Wednesday discussing my vision for expanding their client base. The same Marcus Chen who told me I was exactly the kind of strategic thinker they needed on their team. That's great, Emma, I managed. Really exciting. I know, right? And the timing is perfect. If I get this job, it'll be the best anniversary gift I could give Mom and Dad. You know how they worry about my nonprofit salary being sustainable long term. That evening, I did something I'd never done before. I called Marcus Chen directly on his personal cell phone, a number he'd given me after our second interview, saying I should feel free to reach out with any questions. Kevin, good to hear from you. I was actually planning to call you Monday. We're ready to move forward with an offer. That's fantastic, Marcus. But I wanted to ask you about something. Did you by any chance invite someone named Emma Chen for an interview? Emma Thompson, sorry. She's my sister. There was a pause. Thompson? Oh, yes. The woman from the nonprofit networking event. Sharp lady. I was impressed with her insights on community engagement strategies. Wait, did you say she's your sister? Yeah, she is. And Marcus, I need to tell you something. The position you're offering me, she doesn't know I've been interviewing for it. Another pause. Longer this time. That's interesting. Well, Kevin, I'll be honest. Our policy is to interview all qualified candidates who show genuine interest. But given the circumstances and the fact that you've already completed our full interview process, I think we can handle this professionally. Would you like me to postpone her interview until after we finalize things with you? That's when I made the decision that changed everything. No, I said. Actually, I'd like to know more about what happens if she interviews and you offer her the position instead. Instead of you? Kevin, I'm not sure I understand. You're clearly the more qualified candidate. You have 8 years of relevant experience. You understand our industry. This would be a lateral move for you, but a significant step up for her. But theoretically, if she impressed you enough, theoretically, yes, I suppose we could consider multiple strong candidates, but Kevin, why would you want to create that situation? I didn't answer directly. Instead, I asked him about the interview timeline, the decision process, and whether there was any scenario where both interviews could happen before any decisions were made. By the time I hung up, I had a plan. It wasn't a good plan, and it definitely wasn't a kind plan, but it was a plan that would finally answer the question that had been eating away at me for 27 years. What would happen if for once in our lives, Emma and I were competing for the exact same thing on completely equal terms? Tuesday morning, standing outside the Westin with my umbrella, watching her panic in the rain, I realized I was about to find out. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, and your support helps us share more stories like this one. I walked over to Emma, my umbrella cutting through the rain that was now coming down in sheets across 4th Avenue. She looked up at me with relief flooding her face, the same expression she'd worn 1,000 times before when Big Brother Kevin showed up to solve her problems. Oh my God, Kevin, thank goodness! Do you know how impossible it is to get a cab in this weather? I'm supposed to be upstairs in 20 minutes, and I look like I swam here from Bellevue. She was already reaching for my umbrella, assuming I'd hand it over without question. Instead, I held it steady over both of us and looked directly into her eyes. Emma, I need to ask you something,
and I need you to be completely honest with me. This interview you're about to go to, how much do you actually know about the position?" She blinked, water still dripping from her hair. "What do you mean? It's Senior Marketing Director at Innovative Solutions Tech. Marcus Chen specifically sought me out because of my ideas about integrated digital campaigns for B2B companies." "And you think you're qualified for that role?" "Kevin, why are you being weird right now? Of course I'm qualified. I've been managing marketing campaigns for the nonprofit sector for 4 years. I have a UW degree. I speak 3 languages.
Why wouldn't I be qualified? The rain was getting heavier, and I could see people hurrying past us on the sidewalk, their umbrellas creating a sea of black domes. Steam was rising from the manholes, and the sound of traffic on the wet streets created a constant hum that seemed to underscore the surreal nature of what was happening. "Because, Emma, I've been interviewing for this exact same position for 3 weeks. She stared at me like I'd spoken in a language she didn't recognize. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about the fact that Marcus Chen called me yesterday to schedule what he described as a final formality meeting for this afternoon. I'm talking about the fact that I've already presented my 5-year marketing strategy to their executive team. I'm talking about the fact that while you were charming him at a networking event, I've been building a relationship with this company since last month." Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Around us, the city continued its Tuesday morning routine. Coffee shop workers setting up sidewalk signs, early commuters rushing toward the light rail station, delivery trucks navigating the narrow downtown streets. "That's impossible," she finally said. "You would have mentioned it. You would have told the family." "Would I? When have I ever gotten to finish a sentence about my career before someone changes the subject to your latest achievement?" The color was draining from her face, and for the first time in our lives, Emma looked genuinely uncertain. "Kevin, I don't understand what's happening here." "What's happening is that for once, we're competing for the same thing, and you don't get to automatically win because you're Emma Thompson, the golden child." She took a step back, bumping into a businessman who muttered something under his breath about tourists blocking the sidewalk. "You're being completely unfair right now. I didn't know you were interviewing for this position. If I had known..." "If you had known what? You would have graciously stepped aside, like you did with the Boeing internship, like you did when you took over planning Mom and Dad's anniversary party without even asking if I wanted to be involved? The Boeing internship was Dad's idea, not mine. But you went along with it. You always go along with it when it benefits you." The rain was soaking through my jacket now, and I could see Emma's carefully applied makeup starting to streak. She looked vulnerable in a way I'd never seen before, standing there in her expensive interview suit that was now clinging to her like a wet dish rag. "Kevin, what do you want from me? Do you want me to not go to this interview?" "I want you to go to this interview. I want you to sit across from Marcus Chen and try to convince him that your 4 years of nonprofit marketing experience makes you more qualified than my 8 years of corporate marketing experience. I want you to compete with me on equal terms for the first time in our lives." "And then what?" I looked at her for a long moment. This sister who had unknowingly shaped every insecurity I'd ever carried, who had been the measuring stick against which I'd been found wanting my entire life. And then we'll see what happens when the golden child doesn't get everything handed to her. I closed my umbrella, letting the rain soak both of us completely, and handed it to her. "Good luck in there, Emma." I walked away, leaving her alone outside the Westin Hotel, clutching my umbrella and finally understanding that her big brother wasn't going to clean up her messes anymore. What I didn't know was that Marcus Chen was watching this entire exchange from the window of the hotel restaurant, and what he saw would influence his decision in ways neither Emma nor I could have anticipated.
I spent the rest of Tuesday morning walking through Pike Place Market in the rain, my phone buzzing with increasingly frantic texts from Emma. The first few were angry. "I can't believe you just left me there soaking wet." Then confused. "Why didn't you ever tell us about this job?" Then desperate. "Please call me back. I think I messed up the interview." By noon, she was calling every 10 minutes. I let them all go to voicemail. At 2:30 p.m., my phone rang with Marcus Chen's number. I answered on the first ring. "Kevin, we need to talk. Can you come to my office this afternoon instead of the hotel? Something's happened that I think you should know about." His office overlooked Elliott Bay from the 32nd floor of a glass tower in Belltown. Marcus was standing by the window when I arrived, still wearing the suit he'd worn to Emma's interview that morning. "Your sister is remarkable. Intelligent, articulate, passionate about her work.
In different circumstances, I'd probably offer her a position. But she spent the first 10 minutes of our interview explaining why I shouldn't hire her." He turned to face me. "She told me about your conversation this morning. She told me that you've been interviewing for this position and that you have significantly more relevant experience. She told me that you deserve the opportunity more than she did." I felt something shift in my chest. Surprise, maybe, or something I couldn't quite name. She also told me something else. She said that she spent most of her life watching her family treat you like you were less capable than you actually are, and that she's been complicit in it without realizing it. Marcus walked over to his desk and picked up a folder. "Kevin, I'm going to offer you this position. Not because your sister withdrew from consideration, but because you're genuinely the best candidate we've interviewed. Your strategy presentation last week was exactly what we need. But I want you to know that your sister's integrity during our conversation today tells me something important about your family character." The job offer was everything I'd hoped for. Senior marketing director, $95,000 salary, stock options, direct report to the CEO, and the opportunity to build a department from the ground up. I should have been ecstatic. Instead, I felt hollow. That evening, Emma was waiting outside my Ballard apartment when I got home. She was sitting on the steps leading to my building, still wearing her damp interview suit, my umbrella folded neatly beside her. "I brought your umbrella back," she said quietly. I sat down next to her on the concrete steps. The rain had stopped, but the air still smelled like wet asphalt and the sound. "Emma, you didn't have to withdraw from the interview." "Yes, I did." She was staring straight ahead, toward the water. "Kevin, I need to tell you something, and I don't know how to say it without sounding like I'm making excuses." "Okay." "I've known for years that Mom and Dad treated us differently. I've known that they expected more from me and less from you, and I've known that it was unfair, but I told myself it wasn't my fault, you know? Like, I didn't ask to be the favorite, so I wasn't responsible for the consequences." A jogger ran past us, earbuds in, completely focused on her evening route along the waterfront trail. "But this morning, when you walked away and left me standing there, I realized something. It wasn't that I didn't ask to be the favorite, it's that I never questioned it. I never once stopped and said, 'Hey, this doesn't seem right.' I just accepted it as the way things were supposed to be." She turned to look at me for the first time. "Kevin, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the Boeing internship. I'm sorry for taking over the anniversary party planning. I'm sorry for every time I've benefited from a system that treats you like you're not good enough." We sat in silence for a few minutes, watching the fairy lights move across the dark water. "There's something else," I said finally. "Something I haven't told anyone in the family." "What?" 3 years ago, when I was working at the marketing firm in Tacoma, I started seeing a therapist, Dr. Sarah Martinez. She specializes in family dynamics and self-worth issues. Emma raised her eyebrows. "You've been in therapy for 3 years?" "On and off. And one of the things Dr. Martinez helped me understand is that my relationship with our parents wasn't just about favoritism. It was about them projecting their own fears about success and failure onto both of us. They needed you to be perfect because it validated their parenting, and they needed me to be manageable.
because having two high-achieving children would have been too much pressure for them to handle. That's... Emma paused, processing. That's really messed up. Yeah, it is. But here's the thing. The work I did in therapy, learning to separate my self-worth from their approval, is what made me confident enough to pursue this job opportunity in the first place. For the first time in my life, I was applying for something because I wanted it and knew I deserved it, not because I was trying to prove myself to Mom and Dad. Emma was quiet for a long moment. So what happens now? Now, I take the job, and we figure out how to have a relationship that isn't built around competing for our parents' attention. What about the anniversary party? It's this Saturday. I'd been dreading this conversation all day. Emma, I'm not going. What? Kevin, you have to go. It's their 25th anniversary. I know what it is, but I also know that if I show up and announce this job, it's going to turn into another performance for their approval.
And if I don't announce it, I'm going to spend the whole evening watching everyone celebrate you for your latest achievement while pretending that what happened this week didn't matter. She was quiet for a long time, and I could see her working through the implications. Okay, she said finally. Then I'm not going either. Emma, you don't have to... Yes, I do. Kevin, this party was supposed to be about celebrating Mom and Dad's marriage. But somehow, it became about me showing off how well I can organize events and manage details. If we're both stepping back from the family performance, then we should step back together. The next morning, Emma called our parents and explained that we wouldn't be attending the anniversary celebration. She didn't give them details, just said that some family dynamics needed to change and that we'd talk to them soon. My mother called me 17 times that day. I didn't answer any of the calls. But here's the unexpected twist. On Sunday morning, my phone rang with a number I didn't recognize. Is this Kevin Thompson? The voice was elderly with a slight accent I couldn't place. Yes, who's this? My name is Heinrich Weber. I'm your mother's father. Your grandfather. I nearly dropped the phone. My mother had always told us her father had died when she was young. We'd never met any relatives from her side of the family. I'm sorry, I think you have the wrong number. My grandfather passed away years ago. Kevin, your mother and I had a falling out when she married your father. She wanted me to have no contact with you children. But yesterday, someone named Emma called me and told me what's been happening in your family. She found my contact information and thought it was time we met. That afternoon, I drove to a coffee shop in Fremont to meet the grandfather I'd never known existed and learned that everything I'd believed about my mother's family history was a lie. Sitting across from Heinrich Weber and that small Fremont coffee shop, listening to him tell stories about my mother's childhood and a German immigrant family that valued emotional connection over achievement, I finally understood where the dysfunction in our family had originated. My mother hadn't learned her rigid perfectionism from her upbringing. She'd created it as a rebellion against what she saw as her father's lack of ambition. Your mother was brilliant, Heinrich told me, his weathered hands wrapped around a mug of black coffee. But she was also terrified that love had to be earned through accomplishment. I tried to show her that wasn't true, but she interpreted my unconditional acceptance as low expectations. The irony was devastating and perfect. My mother had spent 27 years recreating with Emma and me the same dynamic she'd run away from, except in reverse. She'd withheld unconditional love because she'd never learned to trust it. 3 months later, I'm settled into my new role at Innovative Solutions Tech, working directly with Marcus Chen on strategies that have already increased our client base by 30%. Emma started her own consulting firm, specializing in marketing for nonprofits, and we've actually become business partners on 2 projects. Our parents and I are in family therapy together, the same Dr. Martinez, who helped me understand my own patterns. It's awkward and painful, and sometimes I want to walk out, but we're slowly learning to communicate without scorecards. Heinrich comes to dinner every Sunday now. He and Emma have developed an easy friendship built around their shared love of languages and their mutual determination to help our family heal. That umbrella is hanging in my office now, next to a photo of Emma and me at Pike Place Market, both of us laughing and soaked to the skin. It reminds me that sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is stop protecting people from the consequences of their choices, including yourself. Your family dynamics might be different from mine, but I guarantee you're carrying patterns that don't serve you. The question is, what are you going to do about it? If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more real stories about family, growth, and finding the courage to change the narratives that no longer fit your life. Drop a comment and tell me about a time you had to choose between keeping the peace and honoring your own truth. Until next time, remember that you don't owe anyone a smaller version of yourself.